All right, we're just waiting on a few people to come in, and we're going to get started. What I got, my big question is what I wanted to talk about is the media and how they portrayed that as a missile launch, and we know that's not no missile launch for sure. I got a few people coming in. I'm waiting for them to come on in. I went ahead and started it so I could. I didn't want to be late with it. So that's why I went ahead and started it. But there's one thing about it: whatever you believe or whatever you don't believe is kind of. We know the military didn't launch no missile out of no submarine. It sure didn't come from no destroyer neither. Because I can tell you right now, building destroyers, um, it just wasn't no destroyer. It didn't come from no uh, military at all. So when conspiracy gets in here, uh, probably Jenny Scully will get it going for sure. Just waiting on them to come on in. Hey Mia, you want to come in? Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. Let me get back to Google Hangouts. We'll get this up running good. Let me delete out of this. Come back up here. Hold on, hold on. Come on, man. What's going on here with my stuff? Just don't want to act right. I don't know what's going on with it. Let me see here. Let me see here. Um, all right. All right. Mia, I sent you a link to come in if you want to come in and get your take on what you think it was. Because we know these type of events has happened. It's happened over and over. It happened in Norway. It happened in Sweden. It happened over Canada. I want to say there's and the media is telling you it's a rocket. I mean, come on, man. You know that's just ridiculous. What what I'm saying is I don't believe it's no. I believe it's a sign in the heavens for myself. It's no mistake that I'm a biblical believer, and most troopers will disagree with me. But to each his own. If you want to believe whatever you want to believe whatever you want to believe. But in the coming time, somebody's gonna have to believe something. Come on in. Hold on, I'm trying to get them in here now. Let me get back to my Google thing. Just bear with me. This never fails. It always starts out like this, man. Always. It never fails. Never fails. I can't see none of y'all in the chat or any of y'all. I need y'all to post in the chat for me, all the viewers that's watching. Let's see here. Get this back up. Well, we're going to talk about controlled opposition, the conspiracy of the media, a lot of conspiracy stuff. What people call controlled opposition in some things and what they call it's not. Me personally, I'm just waiting on somebody to come in and debate me on if, biblically speaking, if it's a controlled opposition. You know, give me a day or two ahead of time, and I'm willing to debate anybody on anything, especially biblically speaking. You know, it doesn't bother me that people have different beliefs, or if they believe in this or they believe in that. But there's one thing about it. Just come to me and I'll accept it. It ain't no big deal to me. I'm still waiting on the people that's coming in the host. I'm just basically stalling right now. So just bear with me. Just hang in tight for a minute. Why does that keep pulling up? I know they came out with some new vaccine the other day or last week. I heard about that they're trying to make it mandatory for everybody to have this vaccine between 17 and 25 or something. I heard it on the radio, and this is the same time when the outbreak of the influenza or something of all vaccinated people. I don't know why people does not get the train of thought that flu season does not exist. It's you get a flu shot and you get sick, and then you pass the virus around. It's pure insanity. I don't understand that at all. I can remember the first flu shot I ever got, and I was working through Christmas, and I went and got a flu shot, and I stayed sick for 2 weeks because I got that flu shot. And I knew at that time I didn't know nothing about nothing. I just knew I got a flu shot and I got sick. Now knowing what I know, it's like I'll never have another needle stuck in me about it. anything at any time. There, conspiracy.
Yep.
I was waiting for one of y'all to come in, man. I was just talking to myself for a minute.
I had to go because my parents just came in. And
Oh, okay.
at first, I thought somebody, well, they just came back from Cuba. And I heard noises upstairs in the apartment upstairs. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? But it's them. So,
You got to get off.
pardon?
You got to get off.
No, no, I thought they were coming back on Monday
Yeah.
and we're Sunday. So that's why I was a little nervous. Like, why is there noise?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into this media thing on that Kentucky submarine missile shot.
When?
You didn't see that blue thing that crossed the sky the other night? It's been all over the Facebook news.
The light?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, what do you think it is?
The light. UFO. I don't know.
I don't believe it's military one bit.
No, because what would be the purpose?
That's what I'm saying. Why would a military shoot a missile over America? I mean, I can understand, if they were trying to take out a certain group of people, but it's just a light in the sky that faded out.
Testing? That
Yeah,
really?
I mean, could it be Bluebeam? Could it be Project Bluebeam? I think this one actually had a noise, though. All the other ones didn't have no noise.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it on YouTube?
yeah.
I'll go watch it.
They had that spiral, the Norway spiral, when Obama got his Nobel Peace Prize,
Yeah.
and it didn't make a noise. And they said it was the exact same thing as this, that it was a missile. And then they had one that came straight down that looked kind of like a missile, and then it turned into a blue face. And
Really?
yeah, here I'll
Do you
see.
have?
Yeah. Hold on, let me pull it up here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to back out of the chat in there. So hold on. Let's see here. Uh, turn. This one's crazy. I mean, I don't know what in the hell it was. Let's see. Norway spiral. You ain't seen the Norway spiral at all, really?
Well, I don't know if it's the same one we're talking about.
Let me pause it so I can go to screen share. All right. All right, can you see it?
On screen?
On screen share. Am I on screen share? Oh, present to everyone. There we go. There we go. Can you see it? They say that this is a missile too, and it's pretty much the exact same thing.
Am I supposed to be seeing something on the screen?
Yeah, can you not see it?
I see you.
How do you see me?
I just see you on the screen.
Oh. Click on, let's see here. Hold on. Should be screen sharing. I see it screen sharing. Stop. Screen share. Start screen share. Now can you see it?
I see it. Hold on.
See, that's the same thing there. If I can find, let's see.
Yeah.
Now can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is at the exact same time Obama was getting his Peace Prize right here. The exact same time. Now I'm going to go to this one right here. And you'll see where the one turns into a face. No, I don't want to pull up. I got to pull my mic off.
A UFO in China's skies forced Zhoushan Airport to stop operations until on July 7th. Outbound flights were grounded after the unidentified flying object was detected by a flight crew. The incident has captured the attention of Chinese media. Theories about the UFO's identity are burning up on the internet as well. They include everything from a hidden U.S. bomber to an elaborate man-made hoax. For now, the UFO continues to be a mystery. A spokesman from China's Civil Aviation Administration confirmed to ABC News that the matter is under investigation.
Some Chinese residents are on edge this morning after another apparent UFO sighting. It's the second one in 2 weeks. The first sighting was on July 7th, and an airport had to be shut down.
All right, that's a UFO if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, can you identify
That's undeniable.
The airport had to be shut down after people apparently saw twinkling lights above the airport terminal. 17 flights had to be diverted. The latest sighting happened just 2 days ago, and people say they saw 4 lantern-like objects forming a diamond shape in the air, hovering in the sky for over an hour. And aviation experts say they don't know what it was. It wasn't a plane.
See, you'll see in a minute where I'm going to go and scan through it, and you'll see the one that turns into a face here.
Spiral in the sky over Norway on Wednesday.
As UFO sightings go, this one was as good or as weird as it gets.
A light appearing high in the Arctic sky, baffling those who saw it and exciting a lot of comments. Early yesterday morning, just before dawn, this appeared in the Norwegian sky. A blue light, small.
Was it 2012? I thought it was 2009.
Into what appeared to be a black hole.
I'm pretty sure it was 2009.
Trøndelag, and on a Norwegian military base, cell phones snapped, video cameras rolled.
Let me look and see, double check.
But tonight, Norwegian authorities are investigating strange lights seen in the Arctic sky. The spiraling white light was seen for several minutes Wednesday morning. Locals say the light appeared to be bigger than the moon. Thousands of Norwegians bombarded the
Yeah, it was 2009.
What that light could have possibly been. Some feared it could have been a meteor, others a black hole, and there are even those that thought it could be aliens.
A strange spiraling white light was spotted in the early morning sky over Sydney, with even skeptical witnesses wondering if it was a UFO. The unusual sight was recorded by hundreds of people from Victoria north to Queensland.
A spiral in the sky around a bright light.
And scientists were baffled by an unexplained circular light seen hovering high over Moscow Wednesday evening. People described seeing a wide circular formation in the sky. Footage capturing the spectacle will help whether scientists and specialists find an explanation for the event.
See, this stuff ain't new, man. It ain't new at all.
What was in the skies over Jerusalem? And why did it stop over one of the most treasured sites in Christianity?
There's a new video this morning that some say may be proof we're not alone in the universe. A UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. The video is said to be taken over the weekend. Then suddenly the light shoots up into the sky. You see it. Another video from a different angle appears to show light doing the same thing.
Now it is sparking intense debate on the internet. Trace Gallagher following this live from our West Coast studios. The question is, what was that UFO? What was it doing over Jerusalem? And, you know, is he back?
Yeah, and that is the question, by the way, Megan.
I'll grab my iPad so I can go into the chat.
Because there are so many different angles. We've got 4 different videos, all from various perspectives, but they do not know of anything like this in the Israeli army.
All right, because listen, I don't like to be scared. I just can't take it. It's, you know, I don't know what it is.
Well, I wish I could give you an answer to this bizarre sighting. I really can't, but I can tell you that earlier today, there were dozens and dozens of people right here on 23rd and 8th. They were standing right here, and they were all in a stupor, just crowded together, looking into the sky.
Well, a lot of people are looking up. It's because of a mystery in the sky. Is it a balloon, a UFO? Whatever it is, it sure has a lot of people talking. Eyewitness News reporter Jeff McGee is live in Chelsea, where crowds have gathered. Jeff, what's this all about?
Well, Sade, we don't know. Coming in. Come here with us.
Yeah, people in the chat are saying they can't see it. Neither can I.
All right, hold on.
But we could hear though.
All right, hold on. What about now? Can you see it now?
Not me.
Hold on, let me see. Did they see any of it?
They saw a part of it, and then it went black.
Gonna stop. Okay, what about now? Can you see it now?
I see me.
All right, hold on. Oh, I almost screwed up there.
Yep. Got it.
You see now?
Yep.
That looks like the TR-3B there.
Oh my gosh! What the heck is that? What is that? Look at it going.
It's black again.
It went black again?
Is very close, and the American people need to prepare themselves very soon for an announcement from our government that there is, in fact, extraterrestrial presence engaging this planet and human race.
Is it black again, or can you see it?
Nope.
Huh? Conspiracy, can you see it or not?
No.
Shit. What? Can you see it now?
It's just your screen with a black video.
You can't see the light on the video? What is going on here? What about now?
No.
Oh my God, man. It's right to what I
would
want you.
do it, but I don't know how. It keeps telling me to get 2P2.
All right, what about now? Can you see? Hold on, let's do full screen. See it now?
Yeah, I see a beam of light.
All right, let me get to it. Watch it turn into a face.
I don't know what. Okay. Got it. It looks like a huge flame.
Yeah.
Something knocked us off the air, and we're on a backup system now. Is it the government or? I don't know. It has to be something, though. Well, did you hear? Now you tell me because you were listening. That was awful strange. There was a really weird guy on the air when it went off. Yeah, real weird out. Like going sort of sounding paranoid. Yeah. Like crying and everything. Yeah. And how far into the conversation was it when it went off? It's just a couple, about 15, 20 seconds, I'd say.
All right, that's what I want you to see.
We got it. Yeah.
So if they shot a missile, then they've been shooting those type of missiles since 2009. So they've been testing missiles for 6 years now.
Well, where do they land?
They don't. That's what I'm saying. It's not what they say it is. It's just media propaganda to, promote whatever their agenda is. It ain't no rocket. It ain't no missile.
No, that doesn't look like that.
I mean, the one that turned into the face, there was obviously something sitting in the middle of it when it got to the face, when it got real big, And me personally, it just looked like an angel of light to me, but it could have been anything. I don't know what it was. But it sure ain't no freaking missile.
I doubt it. No. Thank you for showing us.
You're welcome. I think somebody posted the link in the chat. I'm trying to get back to the chat now.
Yes, Rebecca Wilson. Let's go see it.
But I can tell you, since they're doing everything they can do to divide the people in America, and they're using. Did you see where the cop supposedly was shot at by 3 black guys or something to that effect, and he really committed suicide? Well, that's what they say he did. Still with me? What happened? Where'd you go? Well, it looks like we lost government conspiracy. But anyway, the cop, supposedly he set up several fake shootings that he shot into his own police window, that he shot into his own cop car, trying to perpetrate the war on cops to make it seem like cops are being, they declared war on them or something.
I'm sorry, I had to log out and come back in.
It's all right. So that cop that supposedly committed suicide out by his cop car, he called in, he was being shot at by 3 teams or something like that, and they ran off into the woods. And come to turn out, the official story is he committed suicide to perpetrate the war on cops because he had already got busted shooting into his own police car window and embezzled a lot of money or something to that effect. Then
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
I believe that they killed him and put blame on him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I believe.
There was more to that story. It was probably more than just him involved in all the stuff that was going on. And he was probably going to expose him. And supposedly he shot himself twice.
Yeah, because everybody that commits suicides has the ability to shoot themselves twice in the head. Especially, and he wasn't carrying no 9. I don't know. I guess some police officers might, but most of them carry 40 or 45s, Glocks. So, if you don't kill yourself on the first one, there ain't no way you're pulling the trigger again to a shot to the head. Mm.
And then they couldn't find the gun. They brought in that nationwide manhunt, and they searched the area. Cost millions of dollars and all that. And then they find the gun under the leaves, like a ways away from him. I don't know how the gun got placed under leaves from a man shooting himself in the head twice.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
It's the only rational explanation.
There ain't, man, there ain't no telling what they're actually doing. A lot of the cops have that Freemason square and compass
yes.
Around their shirts and on their badges and stuff. And when you talk about, I'm not anti-police, none whatsoever. I say the police are underpaid. They have not enough benefits, and it is a difficult job. Nobody wants to write tickets to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to put anybody in jail. Well, I wouldn't anyway.
I wouldn't.
You got to be tough.
Anybody that's sensible is not out for vengeance.
Right. I mean, it's a tough job.
It is a tough job.
But if the reason why it's called the Fraternal Order of Police is because you get initiated into a secret society. It's just what it is. That's why it's called the Fraternal Order.
But are they really in power, or are they just puppets for the higher organizations?
I would say puppets, just like all government politicians and whatnot. They're just puppets, They can't do nothing without being told. It's the Roman Empire. That's all it is.
Mm.
I mean, that's all America is. If you take a look at the Vatican building, with that big bulb on top with the steeple on it, and out front is the obelisk. You look at the Congress building, it has the pillars in front, just like the Vatican. It has the bulb up top with that spike on top of it, and it has an obelisk out in front of it. It's the exact same thing. Matter of fact, in D.C., there's a statue of a wolf, a female wolf, with a baby under it, sucking the nipple of the wolf. And it says, from old Rome to new Rome. From Rome.
Wow.
It's all it is, the Pope's military force. That's all America is. And I think it was the Pact of 1881, or, maybe in 7, I can't remember, but the Pact where they made the White House a corporation.
Okay, yeah.
All it is a revenue generating machine that keeps the military industrial complex on route. That's all it is. And the Pope is at the head. I mean, you won't see nobody else come through the United States like the Pope did, and everybody bow to him and pray and cry. Yeah,
He's their king.
that's right.
Mm.
And in the Lateran Treaty in 1929 is when Mussolini declared Rome its own city and state and made the Pope a king, literally. It's in our law. And all we are is conquering the world for the Roman Empire. Just like they did in 70 AD. Went out and conquered all the nations. And what do they do? What does Rome do? They set up a democratic process and they put a man in charge of that area. You know, that way they can keep the people under control. What does America do? They go conquer nations and set up a democratic, president or whatever government. We're just doing everything that the Roman Empire wants us to do. Every president is nothing but a puppet for the Pope. And when you go down to the lower levels and look at what police have to do, police have to go out and write tickets. They arrest people for unjust laws. I mean, there's people sitting in prison right now for 20 years for marijuana, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, marijuana has so much healing once you knock it down to the cannabis oil. Not only that, you can make all kinds of stuff out of hemp. They keep talking about climate change and carbon emissions. Well, if they allowed hemp to grow, it would knock down a lot of that. But they ain't gonna do that.
It's the same principle with the cure of cancer. They have the cure. They found it in Canada. They got sued by pharmaceuticals because they wouldn't generate as much money.
Yeah, America's not in the healing business. It's in the damage control business.
Exactly.
That's like the vaccines. You look from 1970 to 2015 at the increase in vaccines.
True.
And then look at the increase in autism. Logic.
I have a lot of autism in the family naturally, but I've seen my cousins grow, and they're getting more and more. And we don't have that much autism in the family, but it is there. You're not gonna come and tell me that because it's in your genes, it's in your DNA. It's normal that all your cousins or almost all your cousins have autism. No, that's bullshit.
Yeah, there's been some of these holistic doctors. I forget which one, and I don't quote me on this, but I think one of them said that he was getting to the point where he was reversing autism, where they were starting to, get the brain function of to get better, and they killed him.
They want you sick. They want to keep people sick as much as possible, because when we're sick, think about it, we're insecure, right?
Right.
And we rely on others. This is our needs. This is how we function. Humans need humans to survive. And if I'm sick, I'll need my mommy. Let's say I'm a child. I need my mommy. This is where it derives from. So as we grow older, we still need others to rely on for our survival. And instead of relying on each other, because now we hate each other, right? They managed to make us hate each other. We rely on government. This is why they do it. And when we start feeling insecure and fearful and all this shit, we tend to be more like animal instead of rational. And so we're going to take whatever the hell comes our way. Oh, the government is going to give me medication. The government is the government and this agency, we depend on, like FEMA. Now we're depending on FEMA. You know,
Yeah,
why?
that's nothing but a trap right there.
It is. They want us to depend on them. So when everything falls on our heads, we're going to feel safe with them. They have always been in our best interest. So we're not going to fight them. You know? It's
Yeah.
all bullshit.
FEMA, what they did in Mississippi was the most ridiculous thing during the hurricane. Oh, yeah, you already have a link. Go to your Google Hangout. Go to your Google Hangout box. There's a link in there for you.
Hold on.
I can tell you when FEMA, you know, take Katrina for an example. In Louisiana, the people by the levee said the levee didn't break because of water. They said they blew it up. I mean, they all stood there on film and said that. Now, how can you misconstrue water breaking the levee or a bomb? You know what I mean? People ain't gonna make that up. They ain't gonna make that up.
Mm-mm. Why would they? There's nothing to fear if you're telling the truth.
That's right.
You know?
I mean, and then you had Blackwater come into New Orleans and went to war with the police. They literally went to war with the police. They shot up police, and police was giving interviews that they were fighting Blackwater. Then one of the text messages or something from Blackwater got caught, or an email or something, and he told one of the guys that was told to come down there not to come down there. They was only paying like $2,300 a day or something like that, that it wasn't worth it. And FEMA was everywhere around there. Hell, FEMA was Blackwater. I mean, I don't understand that.
They want us to depend on them. They come in and they provide security for your fear. That's what they do. And so when everything comes down, they're gonna say, "Oh, we're here. We're here." Like a parent wants to console a child that's crying. Mommy's here. Well, FEMA's here.
Well, I tell you what they did down in New Orleans. They got everybody to come down. They starved them out, you know, and then they said, "Look, come down here and get a debit card. You got $2,000 on it." Everybody flooded down there, signed the paper, and got their $2,000 debit card. And hell, half of them didn't even work. People went down there and signed their life away. That just goes to show you that when they create this chaos that's coming, they'll say, "Come here to this FEMA camp and we'll feed you. We'll give you supplies. We'll give you money. Just come down here to this FEMA camp," and people will flock to it.
Of course.
People will flock to the false god of government. And, you know, they'll be locked in that FEMA camp. They won't be getting out.
Well, you know, they're sending homeless people that live in the street to FEMA camps. It's a law now. And if you're in jail and when you come out and there's nobody to pick you there, like pick you up, well, they send you there. These are the new laws. I mean, they're either practicing on them. I don't know what the hell they're doing with them in there. I have no idea.
Well, they're probably messing with their genome. There ain't no telling. You know what's going to happen? I'm telling you, they're going to flock to the FEMA camps. They're going to get that tracking chip put in their hand. You know, and just look at it like this: during some supernatural event, the fake savior will come and say, "Here, take this mark, and I will help you." You know what I'm saying? It's just biblically speaking, it's a prelude to the mark of the beast. It's going to be, you know, a bad time. People's going to be hungry. So here, take this, and I will help you out. It's just,
Hi, Mia.
Hi.
I'm Jen with 2 N's.
Hi, Jen with 2 N's. 2N Jen. Hi,
Jen.
Trey.
Hey, Mia.
How you doing?
Surviving.
Yeah, we're here another day, right? We live to see another day.
Yeah, pretty much. So what do you think about that blue light that showed up in the sky?
Well, I think that it's very interesting. And when I first saw the video, I was like, wow, imagine seeing that in person. And then my immediate thoughts go to exactly where they should go, and that's, government,
Yeah, of course.
military, whatever. But, I have no idea. And then there's all of those, the LAX is shutting down for a week for military drills and whatnot. So I can't even imagine what they have planned over there.
Well, then you got all this propaganda between, China's initiating war with America and Russia. We got to worry about Russia. It just seems like it's, they use, I don't know what it was, but it just seems like, look, something might be happening because we got all these nations after us. You know what I mean?
Do we have all these nations after us? Because I have to ask you a question, and a couple of things go into this. You did see that the Chinese, that military vessel pulled up into Florida, and we welcomed them with like a dragon parade and shit like that in Florida. That was a few days ago.
I didn't see that.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we had Chinese and Russian soldiers doing training operations.
I remember that.
Right. So how likely is it that we're actually fighting with them, or is it that we're supposed to be afraid of that possibility in order to justify whatever it is they want to throw at us?
Yeah, it's just justification. There was people reporting NATO soldiers down in Houston coming out of hotels and stuff like that, fully armed too. Now whether that's true.
Right, and then there were Russian, or what? Well, a lot of the people didn't know specifically what, the language they were speaking, but it sounded to them sort of Slavic or Eastern European or whatever. So I'm thinking, and then the Russian. Then there was this one girl a little girl who recognized Russian because she came from Russia, and the little girl had said, it was the strangest thing I saw on Facebook with someone that knew somebody that I know, and she said that she heard them speaking Russian. They said that they were here to kill Americans.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, see, what happened is the entire world has to have a steady supply of American dollars, which is worthless. Right. The global economy is based off America's economy because America went out and conquered all the nations and took over the oil fields.
Which they thank us for every day.
Yeah.
The whole rest of the world just loves us for that.
I know it. They hate us because we're free. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
Well, so they got to have a steady supply of American dollars to buy this oil. That's why we call it the petrodollar.
Right.
Because, that's what the American dollar is backed for. Well, what they've done, because it's just like a mortgage loan, a mortgage loan can be bought and sold to other mortgage companies.
Which is why we're in this mess.
Right. So what has happened? China has bought up some of our debt. Russia has bought up some of our debt. And what happened is America, paying the debt, gave away land.
Well, not only that, they're selling land reserves to China. Never mind what Harry Reid did with that whole, whatever was going on with that land grab back a year ago. But how about they're selling land reserves to China that surround our freshwater reserves. So, I mean, we're literally being bought. They're not going to invade us. They're just going to own us. They already do because of the debt. But I mean, they're literally buying up the land. And then I'm watching the Food Network channel the other day, and there's this very famous Chinese cook on there, and he's saying, "We're taking over. You better learn Mandarin." I'm not kidding. He says this while he's cooking.
Wow.
I think that we're being basically sold.
Yeah, that's what's happening. They're in
So
this
when
together.
it comes to that, there's a big war propaganda machine going on here. We're going to go to war with China. We're going to go to war with Russia. They're sick of our shit. They're sovereign. And then the other sovereign nations that we've gone to war with. This is all, I don't know, it's kind of cloak and daggery, but at the same time, it feels like we're being sold a bill of goods in the media about the fear, when really we're basically just being sold our land is, and our resources within this our domestic property are being sold off to people we're in debt to. They're like, well, we can't pay you back, but we'll give you this pile of land around Lake Michigan. And everybody learn Chinese. And by the way, I mean, if given the choice, I'm gonna take Russian takeover over Chinese takeover any day of the week, because I don't think that they really particularly care about the individual human life.
No, they don't. Yeah, you know.
What do you think about what I said about them selling the land reserves around water sources?
Yeah, I know. Well, they already passed that executive order where...
Isn't that scary, though?
Well, yeah. See, Obama wrote that executive order last year where when a martial law was declared, that the government can take all your vehicles, all your gas.
Oh, the NDAA? That came into play around Carter administration, though, too. I mean, well, even before that, I think in the 60s there was some talk of that. There were adjustments made, and he just sort of reinstated it, didn't he, though, Dre?
Yeah. Man, I about choked on my gum. Yeah, he wrote like several executive orders.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they was all like the vehicles was one, the gas is one, the food is one.
All of the resources, though. Every resource, everything, every bit of food in your house they can take.
Well, and they're going to take it. If they don't take it, you're considered a threat. That way you can go get stuff to fight back. You know, that's what I was telling Jen earlier, that, you know, I don't foresee them coming with force to grab guns.
No.
That would be a big mistake for them.
No, but they'll create it's order out of chaos as usual. They'll create a problem in that region, and everybody will have to gather around like Katrina, or, you know what I mean? You know what I mean.
Yeah. Basically, what I foresee coming is they're going to do they've been slowly implementing these false flags on a steady basis. They kind of slowed down here in the past.
No, I'm actually getting very sick of it. I'm actually bored. Another day, another shooting. And by the way, when you were talking earlier, Trey, about the cop that the story, the swirling vortex of untruth going on with this story, with this cop that set up his own suicide, and now they're saying he planned to murder people. And I'm watching CNN, and I'm thinking, you people are so freaking full of shit. I don't believe one word of that story, by the way. I don't know what really happened. I don't know if anybody really died or whatever happened, but I know that they are giving us a freaking... The story has more holes in it. I mean, I can't even... Did you hear he was planning to murder, and then he stole a bunch of money, and then now they're looking into arresting his wife?
You know, more than likely, if he is dead, they killed him. You know, he had too much knowledge of what was going on. Yep. And they had to take him out. He done got caught and whatnot. And what they're doing, they're perpetrating this war on cops, right? And and even Obama had to come out and say something about a week ago that police deaths are at a 20-year low. It's at a 20-year low.
Well, they're creating division. There's a division, but they never come at it from just one angle. They come at it from all sides. They have a long con going on, and the long con involves many facets, a multi-tentacle thing. So they don't. Whenever you see something that looks suspicious, it's done for many reasons. It's never just for one reason.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just about a gun grab. It's about making everybody terrified. It's about social conditioning, and it's about, and now that people are being so desensitized, it's kind of like when they create a new boogeyman in the Middle East, like, oh, Al-Qaeda's gone and we're bored with Al-Qaeda. Now we got to create ISIS so that we can get them, you know, to justify, get us to co-sign the wars, basically, the war for profit, which is all bullshit. And I can think of about 25 other countries that could really use our help militarily and humanitarily, and we're going into these places we have no business going into, which is going to create all kinds of obstacles. It's deliberate in order to to create an atmosphere of American exceptionalism, which, by the way, on the one hand, they're trying to dismantle, and on the other hand, they're trying to curry.
Well, it's like you hear Obama, we're gonna arm the Free Syrian rebels. The Free Syrian rebels is ISIS. I mean, it's the American.
We'll never understand. We're arming ISIS in Syria the same way we armed Al Qaeda in Syria, and yet we're fighting them in other countries close to the region. I don't get it.
They've always done that. There's profit to be made.
Which makes me wonder why the average American citizen is willing to co-sign this. When you look at a little fucking asshole like, I'm sorry about my language, I have Tourette syndrome, but a little fucking asshole like John McCain, a war criminal, a liar, a total liar, a piece of shit, if you ask me.
I can't stand that dude.
He's a piece of shit. He's up Henry Kissinger's ass. Henry Kissinger isn't even an American citizen. And why does he have so much power? No one knows. Because he's
Jew
smart.
bag, man. He's one of them Zionist Jew bags.
Well, I do have a problem with the listen. I have you claim to be Jewish Hebrew person by genetic, right?
I'm not talking about a Yehudi. When I say Jew, I'm talking about the Edomite false Jew.
Right, I get that. The Ashkenazis, the phony fake Jews, I get that. The converts from the Crusades, I understand all of that. Right. But a lot of people get confused when you start talking about that. It seems like we're saying that we're it looks anti-Semitic.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm Jewish too. My father is Jewish, so. But I'm a Christian, and that's neither here nor there. But the fact is that when we begin this dialogue with those fucking Jews, you know what I mean? It's like.
Well, let me clarify for them. When I talk about a Zionist Jew, I'm talking about the fake Edomite. The Edomites came down with Nebuchadnezzar and said, "Let us run down to Israel and hide because Israel's going to be attacked." The people from Nebuchadnezzar bought their way into the Pharisees and the Sadducees in Judah, from the tribe of Judah.
True.
So what happened there is the Pharisees made all these crazy laws and was oppressing the people. The Messiah came and showed them, they're just full of it. Don't listen to them. Follow the Torah. And those, when I say Zionist Jew, I'm talking about the fake Pharisee Edomites that came down.
You do realize that the Jewish culture is exactly the same as, say, a low level Freemason or a Catholic parishioner. These people are following a doctrine they believe is true, even though they are also being misled. It is truly the spiritual wickedness in the high places, the principalities. It's the top level. It's not the brethren.
Right.
You do know that. I know Jews who believe in what they're doing. They're not lying about their intentions. I know Catholics the same way. I know Baptists the same way. And show me a Baptist church, I'll show you a Masonic lodge, literally right next door.
Exactly.
So it's not just the Zionists, it's not just the Jesuits, it's not just the Dragon family or the global elite or the royal family who are lizards or whatever. It's a combination of all, and they will align themselves with each other for a common goal, and that's what's going on right now.
It's a foundation of things.
Right.
It's the pyramid.
You can't blame one faction. This is just one faction.
Well, and when you get down to the low-level people, like you say, they don't know what they're doing is wrong.
Right. And I believe that God forgives those people, by the way. I do believe that.
Oh, yeah, they're forgiven.
Because if your heart is with Jesus, in my mind, everybody I don't know people who are genuinely Christian, oriented people, followers of Jesus Christ. There was no such thing as Christian in the time of Christ.
Right.
So I mean, and everybody I know is affiliated with some church or organization, and I come from New England, where there's a Freemason, there's a Masonic lodge on every corner. There's Rotary clubs. There are you name it, any kind of secret society kind of a thing. All of the VFWs, that's the same thing, you know.
Right, right.
So I mean, you're talking about everyone in our culture. And you have to understand that it's not just it is truly just the top tier. Everybody else beneath them is woefully misinformed and going under the guidance of misinformation from their elders. That's what's really happening in churches. That's what's happening in Freemasonic lodges. That's what's happening in temples. It goes across the board. We're not invited, regardless of our affiliation, unless we are, and that's a bloodline thing.
Yeah, that's actually true. Once, you know, that's why I was talking about the police having the Freemason thing on their arm.
Guys, I'm gonna have to let you go.
All right, Jenny.
Sorry.
Did I say something?
Yeah.
What happened?
Pardon?
I want to listen to you. What are you thinking?
What? No, I have to do things.
Oh, it's not that I said something that
No.
'cause I'm open to listening to everybody. I really want to connect and understand other sides.
No, the thing is that I'm getting operated. So I have to prepare food, I have to reorganize my house.
Oh.
You know, so because I'm gonna
I wish you
bedridden
well. I wish you well on that. I hope you
Well,
do
it's in 2 weeks. It's just I have a big house, so I just have to reorganize everything.
Oh, I wish I got the chance to talk to you. I'm sorry I didn't.
Well, then maybe the next time.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Trey's gonna have more.
Yeah.
Okay, well, best of luck to you,
Next
and
time we
I'll
won't
send
do it
prayers.
on the limb of a tree. We'll plan it out.
All right.
Well, God bless you.
Thank you. All right. Ciao, guys.
Bye.
Because like I was saying though, Trey, it's like you know, you can't blame one faction, and like there's this whole thing going on right now within the so-called truth movement, where there are differing opinions about, okay, one person says that Sandy Hook was done by the Zionists, and the next person says, with a decent argument, that it's done by the Nazis. And so I'm like, at this point, I can't really see any difference between a Nazi and a Zionist.
Well, yeah,
I find that they have common goals.
I have people on my Facebook that think Hitler was a good guy. That was when they call it Hitler after the Jew world order, and that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Hitler was nothing more than a puppet
Same as Barack Obama.
Right. Barack Obama is implementing the same laws that Hitler did with.
Yeah, but is Barack Obama doing that?
Yeah.
Or is he just like, listen, when you get sworn, remember his campaign, his original campaign, Barack Obama, and all of the things he said he was going to do, literally the day after he was sworn in and inaugurated, he was, oh, well, maybe we're not going to close Guantanamo. I mean, he gets taken out to the woodshed that day after he takes the oath, and they tell him, okay, we know what you said, but here's what you're going to do. That's what happens when you become president.
Yeah, I mean, you know, basically, I heard, I think on a video about, you know, Bill Hicks is Alex Jones or something to that effect. And Bill Hicks was up there on the stage talking about, you know, all these promises, and then the day you get elected, you go into this secret room, and all these men are smoking cigars, and then a screen comes down, and they show the Kennedy assassination from another angle you ain't never seen it from.
Right.
Like the grassy knoll. And they look at the president and say, any questions?
Right.
And,
well, and that's a scary moment, wouldn't you imagine?
Oh, yeah. I mean, without a doubt.
And then you look at the people who are running for president right now, and always follow the money, by the way. If you look at somebody's campaign contributors and it says Goldman Sachs or Bank of America, or, these are people who are on the dole. And, every one of them is, including, Ben Carson and Trump and all of them. But so that's why I don't even bother to vote. I think that the best way to vote in this coming election is to not vote at all.
Yeah, voting for the president, I don't believe has ever mattered.
It doesn't matter. That's a figurehead. That's really my point.
So, I mean, you look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the Zionist Jewish mafia.
He said he loves Israel.
Yeah. Loves it. But he's in his real estate business in Brooklyn is in connections with the Jewish mafia down there. This is no conspiracy theory. It's a fact. It's a fact.
Absolutely. And by the way, I'm looking at it like this. I remember when Jesse Ventura was saying he might run for president, and with like Alex Jones or something. Now everybody knows that, everybody's suspicious, and rightfully so, of those couple of people. But I mean, I look at it like this: who's going to be more fun to watch in the White House? I haven't had fun since Bush Jr. Yeah. Let's get another asshole in the White House, because it doesn't matter who we elect. It's a bunch of distracting, it's 2 years of distraction for the American, consumer. And I would rather have Trump in there, to be honest with you, because he's going to be more fun to watch.
Yeah, hold on one second, Mia. Hold on one second. Come on, Rufus. Out. All right. As far as Trump and the presidency,
I just heard you flush.
Yeah, I got an awesome mic. It wasn't but $10. I mean, it's awesome for some reason. So, but as far, I don't foresee another election coming. To be honest with you, I'm basing on prophecy. In 120 jubilees and all that. I do not foresee another president election.
Oh, I do. I don't. But I see it the same way I saw the last Pope being elected. It's kind of like run its course, and now this is just runoff right now.
Well, it's fixing to get really, really, really interesting. But there's a lot of things that's fixing to happen, prophecy-wise. Like we see Putin coming down through Ukraine, fixing to come around Israel, because we know they're allies with Iran.
Right.
And Iran's allies with all the other Muslim countries.
Well,
and when they sign that,
anyway.
Yeah. When America signs that nuke deal with Iran, that makes us allies with Iran.
Right.
All right. And
but I found out that wasn't actually a signed agreement.
It's not signed yet.
Yeah.
They say, okay, we've reached a deal, but it ain't been signed. It's just propaganda, but it will be signed. It will eventually be signed, and the nations, including America, will surround Israel. That will happen. And when that happens, Elijah's supposed to show up.
I know you're coming at it from a biblical standpoint, and you and I have had this, we've touched on this conversation before, but I feel like there's a lot. Well, I think you've agreed with me on this, that there's a lot that needs to happen. Many years of things need to occur.
Well, it don't necessarily have to be years.
It seems like it could take a lot of time for all of the agony and the murders and the
That actually, see, the way it actually happened is basically Daniel 9 prophecy of the 70 years. It's a 70-year prophecy.
Yeah, but you're taking that in your numerology. I don't want to say numerology, but it is your equation of what you're seeing right now. Whereas I'm not sure about what the Revelation math and in terms of years, like dog years, is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean,
more certain of the timeline than I am, and I feel like maybe it's just made to look like the timeline. I'm coming at it from a place of I've been here before.
You're being skeptical. You're being skeptical.
Well, no, not skeptical. I'm being like, I've been here before, 30 years ago when I was a kid, and honestly, I'll know when I see it. But you're coming at it from a place of certainty, whereas I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I'm definitely certain.
Yeah, you're sure about it. I'm not so sure.
Well, what makes me sure about it is the 120th Jubilee was sounded in September, which is going to make this March really, really exciting. You know, a lot of Revelation doesn't happen like people think it's going to happen.
Oh no, you cannot read Revelation as a group. The individual who read, and you do get a blessing. At least I do. I can speak from my own experience. Every time I read Book of Revelation, I get a blessing. I wake up the next morning feeling healed. I feel less, or something, or some miracle happens. Truly, I read the Book of Revelation, and then I became a Christian almost 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up completely certain, and that's the Holy Spirit. So we don't have to get into that. We have people probably listening who aren't necessarily Christian, and I love all people.
Yeah, Jan's not religious at all.
Well, that's okay though. Most people I know aren't. My kids aren't, and it's you know, I came late to the Christianity, so it's like, you know, I can't expect everybody to just join my perception. But at the same time, I'm like, every time I read Revelation, I get something different, unique and singular to my experience. It has nothing to do with anybody else as far as I know. So what you're getting from Revelation could be very different. And I remember my mother telling me that the Book of Revelation is about metaphors. It's about the way they could describe it, what they were seeing in their prophecy. And John, who wrote Revelation, he saw things that he couldn't describe, and he used the best reference points, like maybe dragons were, you know, ships out of the sea. Or,
I'll tell you, Revelation is explained throughout the entire Tanakh. It is explained. It's not like, say, Revelation 9, where the locusts come up out of the pit and all that stuff.
Yeah, but locusts are locusts? Well,
no. It's explained in Joel 1, 2, 3, 4, where the locusts are armies.
That's what I was thinking.
Right. That's like I use that analogy so people can see how Revelation is explained throughout, you know, Scripture.
So, but Revelation is very similar to a parable in the sense that it's not necessarily based on something that you can hold and prove, like a thing. It's based on a visionary perception.
Well, hold on. Obviously, somebody can't. You beware can't hear nothing for some reason.
They can't hear?
That's what he's saying.
I can hear you though. You and I would love to have just a conversation with just you and I though, actually.
Well, I'm pissing to end it here because we had plenty of people until about 9 o'clock. Until about 20 minutes ago, they started falling off.
Do you want to start it over?
No, he can hear us now. They can hear us now. Okay. That's what he said. Scratch that. You're back. All right.
Where do we go? Do we get schooled?
I don't know. Probably. Like I say, you know, it being Sunday, everybody's got to work tomorrow. We had a pretty good show, and I ain't ending it right now, but we had.
I'm a musician. Tomorrow's my day off.
Well, you know, when we talk about Revelation, like I say, John actually, given the spirit he had in him, everything is explained throughout the entire Bible. There's nothing that's unknown that hasn't been made known.
True. I've read some books. Dave Hunt wrote a really good book. There's a few good books about that describe how the Bible is, the accuracy of the Bible and the misinterpretation and the perversion of certain scriptures. Mm-hmm. And Revelation really is the one that's most tricky to people.
Yeah, they put their own interpretation on that a lot.
They're like, oh, he was on an island. He was on Patmos. He went insane. He was schizophrenic. He was hearing voices. I'm like, if you know the full story, you're probably going to get a different take on it. I don't know.
Well, it's a lot of people say the Bible's controlled opposition, and
I disagree.
I do too. If it was, they should be promoting it on the news, and it's the exact opposite. The Pope.
When you look at the Savior, Jesus Christ, it's not like he had a press agent to put only good news out about him. This is a person who is perfect, and there's no bad press about Jesus Christ. You realize that? Like when you talk about Prophet Muhammad, this is a man who married a 6-year-old girl, but he didn't have sex with her until she was 9. So okay,
yeah, it's okay, yeah,
right. So when you're looking at Jesus Christ, when you're doing comparatives, this is a person who, yes, he fed thousands of people with loaves of bread and a fish, but that's what Jesus would do. That you never hear that he faltered in any way. He got pissed a few times with the temple.
He cracked the whip, that's for sure.
But and he had moments of doubt as a human being in his human flesh. He had moments like, why must you really, God? Really, Father? You know, and wouldn't you have that moment? But I mean, as far as failure and human frailty, this was a person who had no bad press. After 2,000 years, I'm pretty sure they would have come up with something. They cannot debunk his goodness.
Well, when the Pope came in, he said, and Jesus, the failure of the cross, he called it a failure. That
was sick.
Yeah, no, everybody knows what no failure. If it was controlled opposition, if it was, that's
God's plan is a failure.
That's what he said.
No, God's plan is a failure. The Father, the Most High.
That's what the Pope said.
This was God's will.
Exactly, and the Pope
it was a failure.
That's what the Pope said.
Well, the Pope also says you don't have to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. He also says he's going to bless aliens.
Yeah.
Come on. He also says, who am I to judge? And he's absolving abortions for 1 year like he has superpowers.
Yeah, he proclaimed the Jubilee to start in December.
He did do that, didn't he? He's a date-changing liar who trips up the stairs every day lately.
Well,
I'm sorry, if you're Pope and you're like a godly, you're not tripping.
That's what I'm saying. Now, he's controlled opposition, and they put that on live TV. Just a few weeks ago, that football player comes on TV and says, on a micro level, the solution to our problem is to know that Jesus died on the cross for us, and they cut him off.
They cut him right up. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
And how was that? If it was controlled opposition, they should have let him talk on.
I want to know this. I don't get religious on Facebook. I did do my testimony. I did witness for myself, and I did come out as a Christian when I became a Christian. And I don't use the word Christian, but it's really is there another more effective, adequate word to describe that I follow Jesus Christ and that I've accepted him as my Lord and Savior?
Well, when you say Christian, yeah, that makes perfect sense of who you follow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm non-denominational. I'm not in a club. So I don't talk about it on Facebook. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook, and well, they're not friends. I don't even know five people. But so I did witness for myself, and I did, speak openly about my faith when I turned over my new leaf, and it was met with hostile long-term, lifelong friends and family coming at me and saying, I used to think you were so intelligent. I used to think you were so, cool. And I'm like, I get that being a follower of Jesus Christ is no longer cool. And I get that it's cooler to have zero faith and nothing to believe in. I get that it's so much cooler that you think the stars and worshiping creation is better than creator. I get that. But guess what? what? I'm exactly the same person as I always was. I just now have a comfort in my faith, and I'm not going to bug you about it, but I can't lie about it either. And so I can't. Right. I'm telling you, they came at me with hell, and so the only time, and so I stopped talking about it. And so, nutshell it, Reader's Digest condensed version. I'm going to tell you that recently, when the Pope is around, I posted a Facebook status that says, "I don't get it. He's wearing a gown. He hasn't done any miracles. And I'm sorry, but shouldn't he be able to speak English? Why does the representative of God on earth that you want to kiss his ring? He can't speak English?"
Well, that's what I told everybody. I said
did he do a trick? Did he do a miracle?
Well, check this out. See, I told everybody that they killed all the prophets. That Jerusalem killed all the prophets. The world hated the prophets. They killed the Messiah. They hated all of them. Who is this man dressed in white that everybody loves?
He's a Roman, and the Romans are the ones that killed him.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people get that twisted either.
The
pagan, the Saturnalia, the whole freaking thing that went on over back in the time of Constantine.
That's my big thing.
The syncretism that went on. The mixing of rituals and how holy days.
Constantine.
Give me a break. Ashtar.
Yeah, that's one. See, when I first came on to the scene here, I came into the Truth community and I was talking. Well, the truth you need to know is Yahushua HaMashiach. Everybody, they lit me up. You know what I mean? They all lit me up, and I said, well, let's put it to it because I promote the truth. I tell them that, all the pagan things and what he taught and as it is written. Well, I'm trying to get somebody to go live with me to debate this. And I had one guy, but he's in another time zone. He's somewhere in Europe when it comes time for me to come on, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for him or something like that. And when we set it up, he came on and we got screwed or something or another, and I set it back up and he couldn't come back on.
So what's his position?
That the Bible's controlled opposition.
Yeah, but I gotta say, I'm not easily fooled, and I'm not naive, and I was raised. If you ever want to hear we can talk amongst ourselves, but I mean, honestly, a very confusing theological upbringing. And also, my parents were from the 60s and 70s, and they were experiencing a whole different, there was a Renaissance, and there was, just cultural changes that were in the extreme during their generation. So when they had kids, we were all, we were the guinea pigs of that generation. So, many different things came out of that, but I'm really, really surprised at because when I was in high school back in the late 80s, I was, nobody would say they were an atheist. Nobody would blaspheme or mock in public. And we didn't live in like the footloose town. We lived in like an inner city, and it was, we were in the Northeast. We're supposed to be so progressive, and yet people were very, very sort of, gay. You couldn't talk about being gay. Nobody ever masturbated. Nobody ever, and you certainly couldn't defile anyone's religion. But nowadays, it's so flipped over, where it's not cool. You're not cool at all if you're a follower of Christ, and you're considered a scientific ignoramus. You're a moron, and I mean, there's so much to undo as far as my generation. I don't know how old you are, but my generation was, I believe, the first one to really be the experiment of this Renaissance, the Age of Aquarius type thing. We were the product of the Age of Aquarius. We were the indigo children. I'm an indigo child, according to them. So I was, what I mean? That's evil to me.
I'm 31 now, and like I say, I want to show the truth of what's written. Everybody has it wrong. Everybody that talks about the book literally has it wrong. They expose it and all this other stuff, expose the pagan holidays and all that. Well, it's literally not written in the book. Just because the majority of the people follow it follow the pagan holidays and the pagan rituals and all the pagan stuff, and they're big hypocrites and all that stuff. That doesn't mean it's what's written. I got this, I want to show the truth, and I can't really get nobody to talk with me about it. Well, I'm sure it'll happen sooner or later, and that's fine. And, I'm not hating or targeting nobody. I just want to
What is it that they're getting wrong, though? Like, what is it that you want to reveal?
I want to reveal the truth to the truther community. You know what I mean? They all deny the Messiah.
If you don't land on Jesus Christ, you're not. You stopped researching at a certain point.
Right, and I want to show the truth.
Because ultimately, you will land on.
See, they say that the Romans created Jesus for control. Well, if that's true, why ain't they promoting him every day?
Can we talk about the witnesses that were actually there with Jesus? Okay, never mind what these theories are that came after. Jesus had witnesses, many, many, many witnesses who spoke of him.
Yeah.
And they told the same story in different places, and then and he had different experiences with different people who then talked about a similar experience in the other freaking part of the region.
Exactly. See, what happened?
Were they all lying?
No, what happened? Rome went out and conquered the world and went and took every book and every artifact that was ever written, and they have it in their vault, and they won't reveal it. You know what I'm saying? There is a prophecy that they do reveal these things, the utensils, the golden menorah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
There is a time where they will reveal that stuff, but they're not going to reveal. See, there's a book called The Essene Gospels of Yahushua.
Right.
It's his actual writings, and it was took out, and now it was found in like a Dead Sea Scroll or something like that, and now people are starting to see these things, and people are falling away. I mean, the falling away has really started happening.
Falling away is so scary. Have you noticed how huge it is? You can't speak anymore as a follower of Jesus Christ. You can't talk about it anymore. People just dismiss you immediately. I don't want to talk about that. It's like I don't know. It's kind of it feels like they're afraid to even. Like there might be some of these people are denying, and of course they're lukewarm. Obviously, these are people who say they're Christians, but obviously they're lukewarm if they're not willing to discuss it with you, or they want you to be quiet amongst their people or whatever. It's so strange how the falling away is like so. It's and not only is it falling away, but it's the flipping around. The evil is good, bad is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exact opposite. And I'm trying, I know if I can get the truth out to the truther community, the word can spread in the online presence, And I'm trying to make that happen, but it don't seem like it's going to.
Well, no, there are quite a few Christians and that we know the names. Because it's a small area of YouTube. We kind of all know who each other is. We see the same names, but I mean, a lot of people are. Here's the other thing that happens when you're newborn, when you're born again. You do tend to get really, really obsessed with that. Yeah. And then you start looking at the Book of Revelation as something literal, and then you think, what's the point of the truth movement? When that the whole point of the truth movement really is on the generalized whole of it is to expose the New World Order or Illuminati, whatever it is, or false flags, whatever, the lies of the mainstream media, government, whatnot. But I mean,
yeah, you would think, and I tell people this. I said, if it's controlled opposition, why aren't you reading it 24/7 to see what they're going to do next? If they wrote all their plans down, what they were going to do, read it so you can see what they're going to do next.
Right, but that I think was my point. Was that? Well, here's my point. You wake up and you become born again, and you're also following the trajectory of what's known now as the truth movement, and you got buddies in this environment, and you've made friends. I'm kind of neutral. I've always been neutral. I've never, been one to, except for one guy. But that was okay, maybe a couple of times. But I mean, I'm generally fair-minded, and I don't really pick sides. I don't get involved. I don't do a lot of commenting. But I think this is the reason why. I've read the book of Revelations. I've read the book, and so I know how it ends. And there's nothing you can freaking do. So,
Right. Hold on one
I mean,
second.
informing people is one
Hold on
thing,
one
but where did you go? Last time I heard you flush.
All right, I'm back. My bad. I drank a couple cups of coffee, man.
I know, but last time I heard you flush.
I shut the door this time. Off my office. I had my office door open. Yeah. But it's not a popular thing, man. Nobody wants to hear it. You get on podcasts like these, and everybody does. Oh, they're talking about prophecy. They're talking about, the Bible. Well, why not listen for just a little bit and hear it out? You know what I mean? And I know everybody's got their own thing and things they don't want to hear about. I can remember when I was a kid, I didn't want to hear about it. I was like, church, I don't want to hear that. It's boring. But if they taught the truth in church, if they taught it like it's supposed to be taught, it would not be boring. It would.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, when two or more speak in His name, so we're having church right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
But the fact is that we're also talking about other things, and I'm trying to make the link between why bother with the truth community once you become a believer in Jesus Christ, and you know what I mean. It's kind of one of those things where you bow to the will of the Lord, and if you read the Bible, I'm not defeatist, and I don't have one foot in the grave. I don't know the hour or the day. No, none of us do, and it's interesting to me to continue talking about it, but. Everybody's always like, where are the solutions? I'm like, well, it's not a solution. You're supposed to just wake up and be aware. Awareness is the solution.
Well, the Messiah is the solution.
Awareness of the Messiah.
Right. And let me put it to you like this. Man cannot govern himself. It is not possible. It's not possible. Man was never created to govern himself because he can't do it. He cannot do it. He is too corrupt in his own body to care about other people.
And it's a tremendous relief when you release the control over yourself to the higher power, which is the Heavenly Father, the Most High. It truly is a relief when you say, I can't drive this anymore. I need you to, if you're there. That's the first question that a person with skepticism asks. If you're there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you do get the answer. Seek and ye shall find. It really does work, And I know it sounds corny and it sounds old school, but the fact is it works.
Abraham was a skeptic, and in the book of Joshua, a book that was taken out, Yahuwah speaks to Abraham, and Abraham questions it. He worships the moon every night, and the moon goes away. He says, surely this was not God. Then the sun comes up, and he worships the sun all day, and the sun goes away. He says, surely this is not God either. And then, he spoke to Yahuwah and says, surely this is God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He tested it, and he went out and worshipped other things, and he realized they didn't talk back to me. It just moved in the sky. They didn't do nothing. They went away. He said,
well, the Bible says to test the spirits.
Right. And it's what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
Well, recognizing when you're the gift of intuition, it's a God-given gift, I believe. The gift of fear, the intuition, that feeling in your gut when something doesn't feel right. No, people these days are not actually listening to that gut reaction, because there is a lot to be said for the culture today. It is a culture. It's Sodom and Gomorrah, really, really like actual size. It's not a theory. It's not becoming that. It's not going in that direction. It's there.
All right, and back to the man governing man thing. We all know that a one world government's coming. We all know that they're going to depopulate the earth.
They're so thirsty for that. They don't even realize how much it's going to suck for them when they get what they want.
Well, I'm talking the only solution that's out there. I mean, how are we going to defeat them? I mean, waking people up. They have the technology. They have the poisons. They have the army. I mean, the only solution is the Messiah. That is the only solution. That is the only way out. Because they will depopulate the earth. It will happen. They're doing it slowly now. They will bring in the armies. They will take over. They will round people up. People will fight back and die.
I don't understand why people find this, what you're saying, so hard to believe, though, the general public, the sleeping masses. I don't understand why they think that's preposterous. If they understand how young this country is and how many times throughout history people just like us had their doors kicked in and they were rounded up, and that was the end of that civilization. I mean, look at how long Rome stood, Egypt, and
all Babylon. All empires fall.
You know what I'm saying, though? These are much older and more established and dominant forces globally. Rome and come on, they fell.
Well, and you have these scientists, that promote. There is no proof for evolution. There is none. I researched it for like 2 years. I really didn't know what to believe, to be honest with you.
Right.
I used to try when I kind of believed in God, but I didn't. You know what I mean? And I was always like, well, how is he real? How is the book real if evolution's real? So I studied evolution. And, 95% of evolution has never been seen. Never.
Right, it's all theory.
It's never been seen. They show you
and
this
their
picture.
Argument is this. Go to the Museum of Natural History in New York City, and it's spelled out for you right there. I said, that is paper freaking mache. It's not real. Show me the missing link. Show me the evolution. Show me the actual evolution. And P.S., have we evolved since then?
Well, you don't even, here's the thing. They show you, they show you the chimpanzee to a modern human. And I think it's like 15 or 20 upgrades or whatever. Well, what they're not telling you into those 15 or 20 upgrades, there's like 20 trillion mutations that have to happen. They're missing like 20 trillion mutations. They can't tell you what these mutations are because all they have is bones, and most of them bones are fake.
They don't have. I believe that there are many species of Homo sapien or ape, chimpanzee, close relatives. Reasonably close relatives, genetically speaking, but definitely not. It's like,
well, there's many ancient books that says that there was many animals manipulated.
And how many are extinct now? It wasn't an evolution; they're just dead. The Cro-Magnon man is gone. That's it.
Well, when you talk about that could, it says there's many ancient books that were the Sumerians with their
codexes and whatnot. I get it.
And they said, well, they went in there and they manipulated this and created this and whatnot. But when you go to talking evolution, Lucy's skull was found 2 miles away from her
femur Africa
in different depths. What? I mean, and half of their
why she called Lucy?
I don't know. Half of their skeletons, come to find out, were fake. They were all
as were those giant skulls, those giant skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
There's some. I don't know
Oh,
how you
yeah.
feel about those giant
Yeah,
skeletons.
I believe that. I believe that. There's been many archaeologists that has came out and said, we found this. We found this, and the Smithsonian showed up.
Yeah, they're gone
And
too. The Nephilim, they're gone too.
yeah, they come in and say they made us join this secret society, and if we spoke about it, they'd be killed.
Right.
The Smithsonian's already admitted it. It's not even a conspiracy theory no more.
It's not hard to believe. We have dinosaur bones too. I mean, it's another species. Big deal. It's Nephilim. I get it. I know where they come from. I know who they are. They built the pyramids.
That's what I'm saying. The Smithsonian has already admitted to having giant skeletons and losing them. They don't know what happened to them.
Some of those pictures were fake, though.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. A lot of them were fake.
But they're real. But I don't think that's preposterous to believe that that those are real. Were real too. They walked the earth, and it says so in the Bible.
Yeah, I mean, when you take the pyramids into account, how did that happen? Well,
the giants built them. The Nephilim built them.
Well, there's hieroglyphs of helicopters and airplanes in them. They
had to get here somehow.
Well, that's because they fly in ships. I mean, it blatantly says nothing new is under the sun. You see technology.
It's cyclical. We said this before.
Right. There ain't nothing new.
It's a freaking 1,000-year Groundhog Day.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And
but hey, we're in it, and we have to fall in line because that's what our Creator requests.
Well, take the scientists that prove creation. All right, that prove a creation happened. They're ridiculed and kicked out. Huh?
They didn't prove shit to me.
Who, creationists? I'm talking about creationist scientists.
No, I thought you said. I'm sorry. You're right.
Like they just.
Well, by the way, there are a lot of scientists who can actually come up with great theories and good arguments for creation.
Well, they have proved it, and they're kicked out of the scientific community. They're fired and everything else. Don't come up with no proof.
Follow the money, yo.
Don't come up with no proof of creation, or you're fired. And that's not a conspiracy theory. There's scientists out there suing the universities they got fired from for proving creation.
Well, follow the money. I mean, when you look at the psychiatry racket right now, which is fucking junk science, bunch of bullshit. They're coming up with studies right now, and I just found this out from a psychiatrist. He's a 70-year-old psychiatrist, and he told me that they're coming up with evidence to prove that marijuana, is worse than anything GlaxoSmithKline ever created, or Pfizer, or Johnson & Johnson, or any of these other freaking murderers. And they're coming up with scientific evidence to demonize marijuana when there is evidence toward marijuana. Now, I'm not like a prolific pot smoker. I'm one of these, like, okay, maybe once in a while, but it's not a big deal to me. But nobody ever died of pot. There's no lethal dose, and there's a lot of evidence to prove that it cures things like cancer. And it's, when you look at the reason why pot was criminalized to begin with, it had to do with big business, paper mills and whatnot, cannabis and hemp and whatnot, and William Randolph Hearst. But it's basically they're demonizing pot now. They're coming up with legislature now that's going to create an environment in the psychiatric community to be able to write more prescriptions for chemical pharmaceuticals.
Well, now Monsanto has created their own cannabis. They've already got their own patent and everything else for it. So what they're going to do is get that weed on the streets and get rid of the actual real stuff.
Exactly. And by the way, there are so many horror stories. As a mother of teenagers, and that's what I am, there are horror stories about kids getting hooked on synthetic marijuana.
Yeah, see, that's what they did. They gave you, when they come out with that synthetic stuff, that spice stuff, it was bad, but it wasn't killing
It's making them sick.
Yeah, it wasn't killing people.
It's mimicking the behavior of methamphetamine and other, like, things like bath salts.
Man, they got them addicted, and then they made it like 10 times worse, where it was killing people.
Exactly. I wondered what their motive was when they started to loosen the reins on the marijuana thing.
I don't know. They probably found a way to tax.
Oh, because they meant to tear it down.
There ain't no telling. There ain't no telling. You know, on the spice thing, I had a buddy call me the other day to come pull him out. He got stuck. And I went down there, and one of them was on spice. Man, he was so messed up he couldn't even talk.
Yeah. Why does anybody want to get that messed up?
I don't understand that. I used to smoke marijuana. I did. And, you know, if anybody wants to smoke marijuana, that's fine. But I didn't care for it. You know what I mean? It just, I smoked it a lot too. I don't even know why I smoked it, because it's not for me. You know what I'm saying?
What marijuana is? It's a gateway drug to the fridge.
Yeah, that's what it is. I wasn't a snacker. You know, you get high, you go snack. I'd cook full course meals, man.
No, I would be making mashed potato bacon pizza with dough from scratch at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's how.
I'd be cooking steaks and pork and beans and ribs and everything else at that time.
It's a gateway drug to the fridge, yo. Because I never did any like crack or heroin or any, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never even
That's
seen
not a
crack
gateway
or
drug unless you're looking to get higher than that. And if you're looking to get higher than that, then you don't need a gateway drug. You're going there.
Right.
Just cut to the chase, you know?
Well, what we're fixing to see with it is Monsanto, they're fixing to make it legal across the board. What's going to happen, because everybody's waking up to cannabis all curing cancers and all kinds of other stuff. So they have patented a synthetic marijuana now. Yeah. And it's going to start killing people too. You know?
It is already, and you know, I've smoked, and it was in liquid formation. They put it in like a vaporizer thing.
Yeah. And
you smoke it like a pipe. And I'll tell you right now, I never felt more out of control of my faculties. And that's not what pot has ever done in my lifetime. And so I knew that it was, I said, is that like pharmaceutical or synthetic or something like that? And he's like, yeah, it's script. And I was like, wow, that's different. And I hate it. You know, it really felt, I can feel the difference between something organic and something chemical and man-made. And the kids are getting a hold of that now. And so that's what's scaring me. As if the kids aren't already fluoridated and vaccinated and crazed. Disenfranchised, disenchanted. They go through life unimpressed. They're stuck in their gadget. It's a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's another thing, man. The technology is going to get to the point to where you'll be forced to have a brain chip implanted in. If you don't do exactly what they say, they'll just off you. There is no other solution. I don't see any other solution.
Yeah, but Trey, when I look at my children and their friends, and they all show up and they sit on my sectional couch in my living room, and I'm cooking in the kitchen, I'm looking at them. They're all stuck in their gadget. I can picture all of them in a dentist chair, plugged in like freaking Neo in the Matrix. Yeah. I can picture it, and they would be fine with that. Yes, let's live our lives in our head. Lay here.
And you know that. Technology will grow. Man wants to be a god. I mean,
then they're stupid idiots.
Well, everybody's seen that video with the scientist that says, if you don't want to be a god, that's fine. But if you get in the way of me becoming God, then we have a problem.
Well, the owner of Google, what's his name? Kurzweil. He's hoping he's trying to stay. He's got longevity. He's old now. Yeah. He wants to live long enough to have his, transcendence into a, another body, or have his body, being made into, transhumanism. He's the owner of Google. I mean, this is obviously, if he's the owner of Google, what's his mission? With all of those barges and whatnot, and Google owns YouTube, and Google is the search engine of people's brains. Everybody's uploaded into Google.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they take everything you type in and put it in a file.
And that's a transhumanist who owns it.
You take the movie Ex Machina, and apply that to they're actually doing that. You know what I mean? The internet is a tool to gain information. You got people on Facebook that will post their weed pictures and say, "Get at me, come, if you want to get high, holler at me."
50. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
being data mined at all times.
Right. And
so why tempt fate? You're not bigger than them. You don't have drones and pain rays and MRAPs. You don't have armies.
yeah, exactly.
I
That's
don't
what I'm talking
understand
about.
why they're so bold. Come and get me with from my cold dead hands. I'm like, listen, you are better off to not be a gun owner during this time because you don't have an army and your little gun ain't gonna do shit. You might be bold and brave and die with your boots on, but you will die of this. And I'm not discrediting anyone who owns a gun. I support the Second Amendment 100%. But I'm telling you, you're less of a target by not owning a gun right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we was talking about it earlier, what they're trying to do, they're slowly implementing these false flag killings. And what they're trying to do is
slowly. It's one a day.
Well, I mean, it's increasing. You know what I mean? It's increasing. They're wanting people to get to the point to just turn them over. The majority of the people to turn on the gun owners.
Well, and then they want them to walk willfully and happily and literally buy, do a raffle to get a ticket into the FEMA camp. That's what these people are going to be doing. They're going to beg for their own imprisonment. They're going to beg for their own demise. And that's where we're going here with this.
And that's what I was talking about earlier with Jen. When FEMA came into New Orleans, they said, come down here and sign this paper and you'll get a $2,000 debit card. Everybody went down there and signed it just as soon as they could get there.
Couldn't wait.
That's just that was just a test for the mark of the beast. That's all it was.
And that's what this lifetime is all about, by the way. It's a test, and it's temporary, and people don't understand that it's temporary, and it's very short. And your word is your bond. It should be your bond.
It's all about inheritance. It's all about inheritance, overcoming an inheritance. That's what it's all about.
Right. You have to do the time, You've got to do the time, and you've got to stay focused. You can't be lukewarm.
Well, what I was trying to tell Jen about. I said, the creator is a supernatural creator. He's not paranormal. People have been brainwashed with these Zeus movies. Yeah, there's
not a difference, Trey. You're absolutely right.
The people's been brainwashed with these Zeus movies. With Zeus,
it's so much easier for them to believe in ghosts and aliens than it is to believe in a grand creator, the creator of all things. And they worship creation. They believe in aliens and ghosts, and instead of the Holy Ghost.
Well, see, check this out. They've been brainwashed with these pagan movies where Zeus just appears, or he turns into an eagle and flies down and becomes a man.
And Zeus is a cartoon.
That's paranormal. That's not supernatural.
But the cartoon. It's like Ashtar Command and the Galactic Federation of Light and all of that bullshit. They have millions of followers, and they're all cartoons.
And when scientists say, why didn't he just make everything good? Well, he's supernatural. In order to have a magnet, you got to have a positive and a negative. You know what I'm saying? Right. So in order to have righteous, you got to have bad. It's just it's a balance. They won't accept that, but they'll accept a positive and a negative magnet. You got to have this in order to have this.
Well, they have the as above, so below, and they have the dark and light. They have the dichotomy as well, but they're focused on earthly things.
Well, I'm not. A lot of them scientists you see on TV all the time, like Tyson and
he is a goober. He is such an idiot. He's a liar.
Yeah, they know that.
Follow the money. Who's buying? Who's paying for their bullshit? Him and that other Michu Pachu, Paca Pikachu, that other liar.
I mean, they know the truth. It's not like they don't know the truth. They're paid to go out there and
their
lie.
Job is to debunk God.
They know he exists. I mean, they know he exists, but it's their job.
Why do you think Christianity is so oppressed right now? It's literally becoming we're the new terrorists.
Yeah.
Even though if you really are truly a follower of Jesus Christ, you're not trying to hurt anybody, and you're not judging other people. You're basically just doing unto others. But the thing is that we're so demonized now that it's so backwards. It's crazy to me.
Well, they got to get rid of the people of the book, even the Muslims.
They know he's real. That's why they hate us so much. That's my point.
Right. See,
they know he's real.
They believe that first lie ever. You can become a god. And that's not possible. You cannot dethrone the one who created the throne.
But they must have the book. They must have the information. Must know it ends badly for them.
Oh yeah, they know, but they believe they're God. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They believe they can overcome God. They can become better than God.
Yeah, I mean, they think Satan is actually going to win. Is what it comes down to. Ain't nobody on TV or in governments that's not taking part in them satanic rituals.
It's so sick. How do they feel like it?
Man, they give up everything for power.
Well, I mean, don't they understand that life is temporary? I mean, how fast did the last 10 years go?
I know they think they can win though. They put these men in these powerful positions and they dominate other countries. Well, yeah, you're dominating other men, but you can't dominate the creator. It's just not possible. It's not possible.
I don't understand why they think they can. I don't get it. They're not that smart.
Well,
I don't know. Hey, I'm not there yet, and for all I know, I could be hallucinating all of this conversation and everything in my life. But I actually believe I'm real, and I believe these things are real. So, you know, what do I do with that? I have no idea. All I know is that I have children who are being raised in this wacky environment of just, I mean, I'm thinking of suing one of my kids' therapists who actually said that that evolution was a fact. Now, what business? That is unethical.
That is unethical.
And so I'm left with my child is very close to this therapist, and do I interfere, or do I march in there and say, "You got to be fucking kidding me, buddy"?
That's ridiculous.
Because I feel very strongly about you got to be fucking kidding me, buddy. I mean, they're all Gnostic. I mean, it's all hooey, that psychological psychology. And Rent a Friend and pharmaceuticals. They're just drug dealers.
That's all it is. They're just
and charging by the hour.
I mean,
I've never seen anybody get better.
No, they don't get better. Half of them put bullets in their brains, man, because they're put on Prozac and all that other stuff that's full of fluoride.
Yeah, your argument against pot is never going to hold up to my argument against Prozac. You know?
Yeah. I mean, nothing pharmaceutical is good. I'm sure there are some kind of antibiotics that are good. There's no doubt about that.
They're guinea pigs.
That's right.
Give me a break. They don't know how serotonin reuptake inhibitors work. They have no idea why they work. They just threw it out there and it's stuck. And by the way, they don't work. And they make people crazy.
Let's see. Let me check this Zach Hawkins dude out. He said he wanted to join in. I ain't got no issue with him.
Okay, good, because I have to go and get my pie out of the oven.
We ain't gonna stay on much longer, but I'll bring him in. Yeah, that's fine. Let me get back here.
Well, I'm gonna mute my mic. If you're still here when I get back, Trey.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see if I can't get him in here for a little bit before we get off. Let's see here, dude. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, hold on. I'm trying, man. Give me 1 second. Now, what is going on? I'm trying, man. It's screwing me here. Okay, here we go. I'm looking for you. Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. I can't find you, man. I'm looking for you. Let me look at your thing again. Hold on. Let me get back to the chat. Just hold tight. It's 10 o'clock. I'm new to this whole Google smartphone thing. I should include medicines on phone ship it. Yeah. Well, Jack Hawkins. Let me subscribe to you and see if I can get you. Now I'm starting to get screwed. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, fellas. I appreciate y'all coming on, listening and all that. Mia, I enjoyed it. Jen, thanks for coming on. Y'all be good.